Hello everybody, welcome to Back Issues. I'm Sal.
I'm Ben.
I'm Tiffany.
Today we're going to talk about Batman Under the Red Hood, which is funny because the book was originally called, or the story was called Batman Under the Hood. It wasn't as on the nose. And then they made the animated movie adaptation of the book, which incidentally was written by the same guy, Judd Winnick, and they called it Under the Red Hood. And it was such a success and so well received that they retconned the name of this book, so now it's just called Under the Red Hood. It's the story that brought Jason Todd back to life.
Which sucks.
No. Well, here's the thing. No. If you don't want to get, like, attacked online, because Red Hood is a fan favorite character. And back in...
He's like an edgy Batman.
Yeah, he's Bat Punisher.
Yeah.
And this story came out from 2004 to 2006, which is like, really? It's also really long, even though it's not, which is baffling. Because I remember when this came out, and I'm like, how could it still be going? Right. It has great covers, and the art is questionable. This story it really only has like 3 main characters. It's Batman, it's Red Hood, and it's Black Mask.
Yeah.
And by the way, like, Black Mask is, like, for no reason targeted in this book. Like, he's like the main villain.
Well, doesn't he kind of look like Red Hood in a way without wearing a hood?
Yeah, he's like Black Hood, where he has like a black head. That's like,
Yeah.
but it's a skull.
He should be called Black Skull.
Yeah,
And
but
he's not.
Yeah, no. Well, he's Black Mask because it's a mask.
Okay.
But yeah, but Black Mask is the main kind of like villain / gangster. Because the idea is that the Red Hood like kind of just bursts onto the scene and he's immediately attacking organized crime. But because we're not going to try and do like the Long Halloween again, we got to deal with like organized crime being run by like crazy people in masks. And
I mean,
so,
like, that's Gotham, sure.
yeah. Well, and
Hey, look, if the mobsters can't do it, the villains will do it.
well, the monsters still do it. It's just more like, also there are some of the rogues who have adopted the crazy person persona, but also still want to get paid. The story opens with like a big, ridiculous fight between Batman and the Red Hood, and you're like, how did we get here? Well, let's go back. Let's find out why Batman's fighting this crazy biker guy. Because, you know, you have no context for what's happening. What's happening? Oh, the Red Hood, I guess it's red.
Well, he's got a gun.
Yeah.
Or a dagger.
He has daggers, he has guns. Here, why don't you just look at it?
Okay. My point being is that, like, it seems like Batman would fight this guy because he's got weapons on him and he's wreaking havoc in Gotham.
Well, no, but like it's put in the middle of it. You're not given context
it's
clues.
It's meant to give you a little taste of what's to come.
Which, you know, I'm not really a big fan of. I mean, we usually start our stories where they begin and not just when they get interesting. No, Batman isn't dealing with a hostile takeover of Wayne Enterprises like he always is.
Right, because he's not running it.
Right. By the way, like it's incidental. It happens. It's what opens the story. Oh no! And so you know, the idea is that like the patents for all the gadgets that he's developed under Wayne's umbrella might go into the public sector, which is like making him freak out.
Oh.
Well, I'm assuming it's a lot of bat stuff.
Yes. Oh yeah. And he's not really worried about the cat coming out of the bag in terms of his identity, as much as he is worried that like his enemies will have access to it.
Right.
Or maybe like Green Arrow. And then it's like, oh no, now Green Arrow has as much gadgetry as I do. Now he has an actual opportunity to put me through the ringer in terms of like being cooler than me. So
That's all I had, you don't understand.
yeah, I just had the gadgets.
And you're also a bat.
Yeah, but you're Robin Hood. It's more iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got that sweet goatee.
Right?
Sometimes.
Green Arrow shows up in this book, by the way.
Oh, no way.
So the big action set piece is that there's like a secret meeting between a bunch of like organized crime guys, and they all think the Black Mask called the meeting, but he didn't. It was the Red Hood.
And then he comes in and shows them a magic trick about how to make a pencil disappear.
Right? Yeah, no, he pulls a magic trick by filling their bodies with bullets.
Ah, that's just a Frank Castle move.
Straight up. Oh no,
up
it's
just
straight up
Frank
Frank Castle.
He
Yeah.
even has a Frank Castle gun.
Oh yeah.
Look at that thing.
It's just, well, I mean, for every gun is a Frank Castle gun.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
So Red Hood kills all these dudes, and then Black Mask is like, "Ooh, I don't like this," and you're like, at this point, you're reading the book, going like, "Who gives a shit?" Like, who cares what Black
Is Black
Mask
Mask
thinks?
there?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he shows that like he's doing something else.
He's late.
He's like, wait a
late.
minute.
He
I
wasn't
didn't call this meeting. I'm not going to that.
exactly. That's it. He didn't call the meeting. He wasn't aware the meeting was happening.
Oh.
For some reason, they were really big on like Black Mask having this like assistant who's like this wormy accountant type guy who's like, Black Mask, I'm working on something. Does he fulfill any role in this story? Maybe he's like a turncoat or he's a secret villain? No, it's just that he's there, and he is a character for Black Mask to bounce his dialogue off of, so that the whole book isn't just filled with thought bubbles.
Wow, he opens his little like skeletal jaw and drinks.
Yeah.
Like, how is it not spilling out? Does he have lips under there?
Yeah, he has got like a real face under there. He decides to call in some outside help, and he hires Mr. Freeze.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why?
He needs a specialist to like deal with this problem.
That's not the first person I would call.
Right? No. But we want to get Mr. Freeze in the book.
Literally, I would not be like, I've got a problem with a vigilante, like, assassin. I'm gonna call Mr. Freeze.
I'm gonna call Mr. Freeze. You know why? Because nobody calls Mr. Freeze.
Well, it's because he's not doing anything.
Because he's he's dealing with his tube wife.
Yeah.
Okay, his tube wife has not done anything for a long time.
This is true.
Yeah,
She's sitting there
he still has to deal with her. He has to care for her.
Yes, he has to pine after her.
Yeah, and cry little ice cube tears.
and make little frozen dinners.
That's right.
So Black Mask then, like, uncharacteristically, like, finances Mr. Freeze's like new suit so that he can be ready for his protection. So they outfit Mr. Freeze with a suit that looks just like the one from the animated series. And it's just an excuse to get Mr. Freeze into the animated series suit.
Okay, I'm
I'm
on board now.
Okay,
now
yay.
I'm on board.
Yeah. So Batman gets a tip about some weapons that are being sold on the docks. So Batman naturally shows up. Nightwing bumps into him, and he's like, "Hey, man, you want to help?" And Batman's like, "Get away! Like, if you want to help me, like, you can follow, but like, don't like think that we're teaming up because I'm Batman." Like, he's a real dick for no reason.
Nightwing is part of the Teen Titans right now.
No.
No,
He's just Nightwing.
He's an adult man.
Yeah. There are no more Teen Titans that Nightwing would be a part of, but there's also no Titans either. So Nightwing's just kind of hanging out. Nightwing is in charge of a city called Bloodhaven, which is like a neighboring city.
Oh,
It's
right.
a crap hole.
Yeah, it's like worse than Gotham, which is like, why?
Maybe he's concerned the weapons are going to be going to Bloodhaven, so that's why he's on the docks.
No, he's just helping out Batman. Because Batman's gone through some shit. This is right after Identity Crisis, where like Batman gets his mind wiped by Zatanna because of the whole like Dr. Light thing. If you want to know more about Identity Crisis, we did a whole episode about it over there. But suffice it to say, Batman's gone through some shit, particularly with his peers. So he's feeling isolated. And so Nightwing's like, I'm going to check on him. Because like that's what I do. Because he's like my surrogate father. So Nightwing helps him out, and so they show up at the docks, and there's going to be like a weapons exchange. They crack open one of the boxes, and they find like a slew of weapons confiscated from Batman's rogues. It's got like Joker gas balls and like Mr. Freeze ray guns and all kinds of other crazy crap. And they're like, oh man, it's a good thing we stopped this right before it hit the street.
And boomerangs.
And Captain Boomerang's boomerangs.
Thank God we stopped those.
Hey, those boomerangs are deadly, and in the hands of somebody capable, they might actually do something.
Yeah, they'll always come back.
Yeah, so Batman and Nightwing are deciding what they're going to do about it until they realize that they're actually all wired to explode. So Batman and Nightwing jump out of the way, all the weapons explode, and then they see the person who triggered the explosion, which is the Red Hood, and he's like on a nearby building, and they're like, oh, like he must have triggered the explosion. What is going on? And the idea is that like Red Hood has got his own schemes that he's hatching, and part of it involves like tormenting Batman, the other part is like his kind of one-man war on crime, where he's like, he facilitated the deal with the docks, and he's the one who rigged the explosion so that those weapons wouldn't get in the wrong hands and stuff. So Batman and Nightwing give chase to Red Hood. There's a fun little fight, and it winds up in a warehouse where they bump into Amazo. And Amazo is an adaptive android.
I literally thought it was going to be like steroided Namor.
Right? He
Namor,
certainly looks like that. Yeah, he looks like Namor on Venom. But it's not. It's Amazo, who is, by the way, like... So Amazo is this dumb robot who has stolen the powers of the Justice League. And depending on which Amazo you're talking about, determines which members of the Justice League he's stolen powers from.
So he's impossible to ever beat.
Yes.
That's why he's
or at least
Amazo.
that's the conceit. Yeah. So Batman and Nightwing fight the Amazo android, and Batman determines at some point that like he's an older model, which means he doesn't have the powers of like Green Lantern and stuff. So he's only got like Superman's powers.
Oh, only.
Yeah. So it's only I gotta fight Superman.
It's like I could do that.
But it's also a robot, so it's not like invulnerable.
Yeah.
It does have like super
Yeah, but
strength.
you also can't like use kryptonite against it.
You can, but they're not going to. So
Wait, it gets their vulnerabilities too?
yeah.
He looks like he got kicked out of Mirkwood for like doing steroids. Like, for juicing.
Are you juicing again?
No!
Oh, Okay. Well,
Can we go to the Undying Lands now?
Yeah,
I don't think you're gonna make it, Flindell, son of Glendell.
It's Glendale! I'm gonna kill you!
Yeah, whoa,
okay,
you are
well.
stressing out.
Hey, can you do us a favor? Can you go get some brook water for us? Well, just for the trip.
Yeah.
For the trip.
Very well, I will carry it all back!
All right, everybody, let's get the hell out of here right now.
So ultimately, like, Nightwing and Batman just take this android apart. Like, it's gonna use heat vision, so Batman puts, like, plastique on its eyes and blows up its face, and then Nightwing jams, like, batarangs into its ears and crap, and then ultimately Batman just hits it with the Batmobile.
Oh, and they put a banana up its butt
Right, yeah, but that
to
way...
clog its tailpipe, just like in the first cartoon show.
I know he's an android, but it's just funny that this happens in this book when they're introducing a more edgy version of like a Bat family member. It's
Yeah.
just like
Batman and Nightwing can easily murder somebody, and they are vicious to this robot, who clearly is, like, sentient.
right.
Anyway, so they kill the robot.
But it's a robot, we don't have to feel bad about that.
Right. So they kill the robot, and then Black Mask, remember the villain of the story or whatever, gets a call from the Red Hood, and the Red Hood's like, so listen, I want to make a deal with you. And Black Mask is like, I don't want to make a deal with you. You're a dick. I want to kill you. And Red Hood's like, listen, I managed to get like 100 pounds of kryptonite. Are you willing to deal? And Black Mask is like, now I am. What do you want? And so the Red Hood's like, I want $14 million delivered by you at this warehouse. And Black Mask is like, right on, cool. And so he doesn't go, and instead he sends Mr. Freeze to go get it.
Sure.
And so Mr. Freeze shows up with some money. Maybe it's the 14 million until Red Hood.
He really. I'm sorry. I
So
didn't
straight up
that's
the
just-
animated series.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because it's like, that's the one I want to see.
I like that one.
I don't want to see your overly complicated Arnold version. I don't want to
Oh,
see
no.
some, like, scaled back, I can control my temperature, like, you know, just naked Mr. Freeze. I just want to see the animated series because I'm just reminded of that.
Yeah.
So Mr. Freeze is like, okay, so I'm here on behalf of Black Mask. I'm ready to deal. And Red Hood's like, so let me get this straight. You probably have like $100,000 on top of like a bunch of newspapers. And Freeze is like, yeah. And so then they attack. And Red Hood, like, he's got like he completely rigged the warehouse. Like there's big crates that then like explode, and there's Gatling guns that pop out of them, and they kill everybody except for Mr. Freeze because we're not going to kill Mr. Freeze.
Right, but it's also like, this is so bizarre because it's like, this is effectual because the person you hired isn't used to doing this and didn't like check the place out.
Yeah.
Twice. Like if he had hired anyone else
Right.
who might be skilled at this, it would have been a lot harder.
Yes. And in fact, someone who would be more skilled to defeat the Red Hood is brought in, kind of.
Oh.
But even he is like, no, I can't defeat the Red Hood. He's too awesome and powerful. So,
He might even be more awesome than Batman, is what I'm saying.
yeah. Oh, totally. Oh no, Black Mask makes that assertion at the end of the book where he's like, Batman, you can't defeat him. And the Batman's like, I don't have to. And you're like, okay. But you do, because the book's got to end. So they fight Mr. Freeze, or so Red Hood fights Mr. Freeze, and then Batman and Nightwing show up because they hear the commotion. And so then Red Hood's like, nah, you can't defeat me. It's just a series of stuff that happens, this book. It's cool in as much as, like, if you've always wanted to see a member of the Bat family murder people, like, yay! If you don't, it's like, what? And this also came out during a time when, like, there were a few certainties of the comic book world. Nobody stays dead except for Bucky, Uncle Ben, and Jason Todd. And before you knew it, Jason Todd came back, Bucky came back, and Uncle Ben is the catalyst for Spider-Verse. So, bite me. Rules of comics.
But so far in this story, we don't know it's Jason Todd.
We don't
yet.
officially know yet, although we've seen some rumblings in Batman Hush. Part of the gauntlet that Batman is put through is Jason's grave is disturbed, and when Batman shows up, seemingly Jason Todd is there in a Hush outfit, and he's like, I was Hush the whole time, haha, and like, I'm alive. And then Batman fights him, and it turns out it's Clayface.
Okay.
And you're like, oh, okay. That gets retconned. So
That gets retconned that it was him?
it's even worse than you think. Where it's like, no, it wasn't Clayface. Because, like, obviously it was Clayface. Batman fights him, and then, like, he deforms and becomes Clayface and melts away. But no, as it turns out, when Jason Todd came back to life after some chicanery, which I will get into later, he then decides to contact Hush when he finds out about Hush's scheme, gets involved, and then gives Hush the idea to hire Clayface and make him impersonate him. So then Jason Todd shows up, and he's the first person that Batman sees in that scene from Hush. It's actually Jason Todd. He fights him a little bit, and then when he gets like knocked away, he switches places with Clayface. So then Clayface and Batman fight, so it looks like it was never Jason Todd, but in reality, it was Jason Todd almost the whole time.
Okay.
So Batman and Nightwing, like, kick ass. Mr. Freeze obviously escapes because we can't kill Mr. Freeze, even though the Red Hood seemingly is this new anti-hero who's going to kill everybody.
I love his move to get away, too.
Oh, yeah, he shoots.
I'm just going to create an ice pillar.
Yeah, pew! And you're like, that's fun. That's like a little Iceman move.
Yeah.
May makes a little ice wall she can ride up in Overwatch.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Red Hood tracks down where the Joker is, and obviously Joker's holed up in a like abandoned funhouse in a carnival or whatever.
If I were mayor of Gotham,
yeah, no more carnivals.
We're knocking them all down.
No more toy factories. No more anything clown themed or vaguely.
If it's not open and running, it's over.
Yeah. I am the Gotham Historical Society, and I have a real problem with you getting rid of this wonderful
You're
landmark.
in charge officially. You have to be there. You have to live on premises, and you got to keep that up.
Yeah.
Up to date, up to
Very
code.
well. I'm already dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, then let's just go forward with my plan.
I am the vice president of the Historical Society.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to make it.
No.
So Red Hood shows up, and Joker's like seeming like a low point. He's like sad or whatever. It's weird. It's a weird version of the Joker. But Red Hood breaks out a crowbar, and then he beats the Joker into unconsciousness. And you're not sure if it's unconsciousness or not. It looks like he kills the Joker with a crowbar, which is kind of cool. Especially if you're like, oh, it's Jason Todd. And by the way, he also like takes off his helmet and he reveals that he's Jason Todd. Or like what Jason Todd would look like if Robin were like 5 years old.
Because like you don't know who that is.
Right, you're like, it's a dude. And it looks like a big Robin. I mean, what do you want from me?
But then again, like, every Robin looks the same.
Yes. It's a young man with black hair and a domino mask.
I love that he's wearing 2 masks.
Yeah. Batman does too, sometimes.
Right.
Not in this book, but most of the time. So
also,
that's cheap.
I don't understand how those masks work, and I never will.
they have like adhesive on the
Yeah,
inside.
spirit gum or something.
Are they soft? Because sometimes they emote with them, and sometimes they.
Oh yeah, they contour to your face.
Oh.
Yeah, they're very thin but very like durable.
Oh, okay.
It's a special polymer that Batman has invented.
Oh.
Green Arrow doesn't have that. Oh, wait.
Batman is like a friend's discount for like people in the Justice League who have like domino masks. You're like, oh, maybe it's Jason Todd after all. He beat the Joker with a crowbar, you know, like the Joker did to Jason Todd. Remember that? More and more of Black Mask's people are being systematically taken out by the Red Hood.
Except for the Joker, who was just a side project?
Yeah. It's a hobby.
Well, I mean, you know, it's funny. That's kind of like it's a little early for that.
It was a little early for that.
It's a little early for that to happen in this book.
I agree.
Like, you know, that
especially
should
for
be-
the end of the story, by the way.
Okay. I'm just saying because it's like, this is the guy who tried to kill you.
Yes.
And you go after him now?
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Right, and then there's all this other story, and then you're going to do the big, grand revenge, or avenging of your own death.
What?
Yeah, hang on. So Batman is trying to... Batman immediately suspects that the Red Hood is Jason Todd.
Oh.
Because of the way that he fights and moves, and you know he can predict Batman's moves. He's basically both Nightwing and Batman muse that like there's no way that anybody is this good except us. And so you know Batman's like right on, so it's got to be Jason Todd back to life.
And this is before the fight scene that we saw in the beginning of the book.
Yeah, we haven't keyed up to that yet.
Got it.
But
when he was fighting Mr. Freeze, that's when, or when Mr. Freeze got away and they were fighting the Red Hood, that's when they figured it out.
Yeah, well, they figured.
Or had his suspicions.
They never even say that they've had suspicions, but we get the indication that Batman had suspicions during that experience in the scene where Batman calls on Zatanna to check out a Lazarus pit that was sealed. He basically wants to confirm with Zatanna whether the Lazarus pit can just heal people or actually raise the dead.
Okay.
Which is weird because you'd think Batman would know this by now.
Why would Zatanna know?
Because Zatanna is magic.
Yeah.
And she might be able to use magic to understand, because she's also dealing directly with like life and death and whatnot.
It's an interesting call because it's like you could have called on Dr. Fate,
Yeah.
Constantine.
But we also want to have some angst because he's really angry and resentful of Zatanna for what she did to him during Identity Crisis.
Yeah, I know. Like they wanted to make it work. And
Yeah.
yeah, she's magically inclined, so
Yeah.
cool.
No, we had to have a line where she says, "Why did you call me?" And Batman says, "Because I needed someone I could trust and I had to settle for you." Because you're like, Batman's a dick.
Yeah, right.
Even though, like, she is too, because she betrayed him.
How do you say teleport the Red Hood here and render him powerless and backwards?
Do me a favor. Superman, dress as me and go to Gotham and wait for Red Hood to show up. And then grab him and bring him to the cave. Except that's how Batman would solve every problem, so he's not going to do that. So Batman is basically going on like a world tour of people who know things about coming back to life from the dead.
Okay.
He goes to visit Jason Blood.
I was gonna say, is that him?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know those wingtips.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, yeah, Jason, magic, death, and he's like, vague answer. Batman's like, unsatisfactory. Leaves. We also ran into a character they're really pushing during this time named Onyx, who is a member of the League of Assassins who's reformed, who's part of like Batman's entourage. She's an anti-hero who kicks ass and reformed, more or less.
Okay.
And also like League of Shadows, Lazarus Pit stuff. There you
Yeah.
go.
Well, she no relation to that. It's just the fact that like she's in the book. And if you don't know who Onyx is, that's who she is.
Okay.
She's part of the story. She ain't part of the story right now, but she's here in this story. And she's trying to like take down the underworld too. She's helping like Batman out, kind of.
Wow, how many more people can we cram into this book?
All of them.
Oh my god.
Batman goes to Star City, where he calls up Green Arrow, and so he's like, hey, Ollie, how did you die exactly? Which we covered in Green Arrow Quiver, which is written by Kevin Smith when he resurrected Green Arrow. And he's like, yeah, I died in a plane explosion. And Batman's like, yeah, but like, how did you come back to life? Did you do any like occult stuff? And Ollie's like, dude, no. Like, Parallax, aka Hal Jordan, brought me back to life using like magic during Final Night or whatever. I don't know. It's really complicated. All I know is like I'm back. And in fact, it's very complicated. You should watch the episode. It's really intricate.
Also, like, I didn't do anything. I died, and then I was here.
Yeah, I woke up and I was two versions of myself or something. Like my body was here, but my soul was in heaven. And then we had to unite them both to make this version of me. I don't know, Batman. What do you want? Meanwhile, Ollie's also responsible for more memory altering for Batman, so there's some like tension there too, but it doesn't matter and factors in no way to the story. So Batman gets a call from Onyx where she's like, yeah, so I saw the Red Hood and he did this stuff, and he's like, yeah, don't call me unless you know where he is. She's like, cool, I'm glad I work for you. So while she is keying in on a drug deal with a bunch of jerks, Red Hood shows up and he's like, I heard my ears burning, like let's go kick their ass. And so she and the Red Hood kind of like team up and fight these drug dealers because they're selling drugs to children.
Right, and I mean, to be fair though, like her head shape's the same as his head shape there.
Yeah, so she should really be his Robin. She's Red Hood and Onyx. So be keeping up the color theme.
Yeah.
But so Batman, so Red Hood and Onyx go and they fight these drug dealers, and it's pretty cool until Red Hood just starts murdering them. He pulls out a friggin' minigun like in Predator, just, and she's like, whoa, what are you doing? He's like, this isn't like kiddie playtime. He says the same thing that every murderer or anti-hero says to Batman whenever they come to ahead with their philosophies. And so Batman, meanwhile, is in Metropolis, and he stops.
Why would she think it would be fine to team up with Red Hood then?
Because he appealed to her sense of justice. You know, she's like, these guys are bad. Let's go kick their ass. And she's like, oh yeah, I was going to do that anyway, so why not? They'll go a little faster with two people.
This guy looks like Captain Boomerang, but with a bat.
He really does.
Like,
but he's not. He's just a jerk who's
Okay.
robbing a who cares. Like, it doesn't matter. I think it's a bank. But Batman stops a robbery in Metropolis. Superman shows up and he's like, hey man, what's going on? What are you doing here? And Batman's like, we need to talk about that time you died, because I'm compiling a big like presentation on life and death in the DC universe.
Alfred,
Okay,
get my PowerPoint.
I didn't die.
That's what he says. He goes, I didn't die. I was beaten into a Kryptonian sleeping coma.
Batman's like,
That sounds really dumb. What was I doing that time? Oh, paralyzed? Fair enough. The less we talk about that era, the better. No, he actually says something like, fourth wall breaking, where he's like, were you really in a sleeping coma, or did we just all tell each other that to feel better about what happened? And Superman's like, dude, I don't know.
dude, I wasn't there. I mean, I was there, but like not there.
Yeah, you should ask the other 4 versions of me that were running around.
I kind of figure you would know. You came back to life.
Right, yeah, not until now.
I thought you were being,
yeah.
Superman, being like, I thought you'd know, 'cause you're Batman.
Yeah, don't you know everything? Aren't you Batman?
Smoke pellet.
Yeah, so
I can see you.
Yeah, so Superman's like, what are you doing, Bruce? Like, slow down. And so Bruce does like actually kind of like chill out a little bit. And he's like, dude, like, shit's going down. It's really heavy, and I don't really know. And
I haven't slept in like days.
Yeah, and I am freaking out, and I really don't know, man. Like I'm chasing a hunch, and I really don't want to be right, and I'm basically just like delaying me.
The inevitable.
Yeah, I'm delaying me actually knowing, like answering my own question.
Right, because like my greatest failure might
actually be back
and punch me in the face.
Right, and also is doing the opposite of my philosophy.
Yeah.
So, Red Hood and Onyx come to blows philosophically. Onyx is like, I have to stop you. And Red Hood's like, you can't because I've already stabbed you in the shoulder. And Onyx is like, you did.
Oh, look at that.
And you're like, oh no, Red Hood's gonna kill Onyx, not Onyx. So they have this back and forth where, he's like, you're not going far enough, Batman, blah. And then he basically just goes like, yeah, but you're not a bad guy, so I'm not actually gonna kill you. So he pulls out the knife, he gives her like a compression pad, keeps her from, bleeding out. And
I love that shot right there because it looks like one of the owl masks.
It does look like the Court of Owls mask, which is not intentional because they didn't exist yet. But he goes like, okay, now that you've got your like compression pad on, we stopped the bleeding. This is the part we're supposed to fight because like you're not going to join me, obviously, and that's what happens in these superhero exchanges. And then Batman's like, no, that's not this part. And you're like, oh no, because of course like Onyx tipped off Batman.
Right.
Batman,
of course,
he
yelled at her.
Yeah. Also, Batman was using a plane to get around, so like he's really fast.
Oh, and she finally knew where Red Hood was, so she's like, yeah, I'll team up with you. It'll keep you busy.
Bingo. So then Batman and Red Hood fight a lot.
Yeah.
And Red Hood keeps taunting at him, and Batman's like, you need to confirm for me that you're really Jason Todd. Like, I know it's you, but I really don't want to be right.
Just tell me.
Just
Sorry,
tell
Jason,
me.
who?
Yeah. So they wind up in an alley, not unlike the alley in which Batman's parents were murdered and where Batman met Jason Todd in the first place. Right. And then Jason pops off his Predator helmet, which has like a thing on it. And he reveals like, nah, I look like a guy with black hair and a domino mask. But I guess that also looks like Jason Todd, the end. So he reveals that he's Jason Todd.
Do you know what I would look like? Maybe like 15 years older?
Right, exactly. No. I was 13 when I died. By the way, also in their fight, he gets Batman's mask off first. So you're like, oh no, I hope it is Jason Todd, because otherwise his secret's screwed. So then he's like, I guess I'll return the favor. He takes off his Predator helmet, and then he's like, nah, I'm Jason Todd. And Batman's like,
now he's just a guy in a jacket.
Yeah, now he's just a biker who's really serious about eye protection. So Todd is like, I know that you're gonna like chase every lead, and you're gonna like stretch yourself out trying to figure it out. So let me just make it easy for you. He grabs a batarang and he cuts the back of his head. He's like, there, I got some tissue and I got some blood. You can analyze that. You can figure it out for yourself. You can confirm what you already know.
And some hair.
And so, yeah, and it's everything. It's a whole package.
Right.
So Batman takes that
He's
and
like,
then...
also, I left another little present in your car.
Yeah.
I pooped in it.
Yep.
No, he does actually trigger the explosive that's in the Red Hood helmet, which provides a handy distraction so the Red Hood can get away.
Why don't you just use a smoke pellet?
No, I gotta make the head explode because
Why would you ever keep an explosive in your helmet?
I was wondering that myself because he just really, really trusts his training. He's like, no, it's not gonna blow up unless I push the button.
But what?
Yeah, you gotta push a button to make my helmet explode.
Right, and where is that button?
Oh, it's
in my
on me
pocket.
all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you were just tumbling around.
Yeah, exactly. From like the highest building to the lowest alleyway. So
You're getting punched
there's no opportunity for you to just fall on. I fall on my keys like 6 times in my life. Every time was a debilitating experience. Anyway, so he blows up his helmet. This isn't the first time or the last time that he will have done this friggin' move. So Batman confirms using his Bat computer that it is Jason Todd. He is back to life. We don't know how. We don't care how. It doesn't matter. It's just awesome. Oh my God, this retcon. Holy crap.
And Alfred's sad.
Alfred's really sad. He also like he gestures to like the Jason Todd memorial in the cave, and he's like, in light of what's happening, would you like me to remove the memorial? And Batman says, no, this changes nothing. Which I kind of like.
Yeah.
He's like, no, my ward is dead. He deserves a memorial in the cave. There's an asshole zombie jumping around in his body.
And even if it's him, it's not Jason.
Exactly. Even though it is totally Jason in every way, and he completely is like emotionally compromised as a result of it. After we confirm officially Jason Todd is back to life, there's no going back. Officially. We flash back to like Batman's guilt over Jason's death and how Jason was like brash and in a rush and always hot-headed and leaped first, thought later, that kind of thing. They analyzed the coffin, and they were doing all this like different like forensics.
Oh, that's right. No, they did find the body, right?
No,
No, they didn't.
in Hush, they exhume the coffin, and there's nobody inside.
No, but I meant in the original, like when he died, he had the body, right? I thought the
Yeah.
building blew up, though.
Oh yeah, no.
That always like.
Yeah, in Death in the Family,
I guess you kind of.
the building blows up. Batman finds Jason and his mother's bodies.
Yeah.
He takes. I don't remember where he has the mother buried, but like he has the body sent back home
Right.
from Ethiopia and buried in a secure location. I believe there's also like 2 graves, one where where he's buried, and then the other one where he's actually buried. So if anybody were to know his identity, they couldn't use Jason's real body like against him.
Right.
This is what Jeff Loeb wrote in Hush. Then they're
So
like,
turn into some sort of like macabre puppet.
right, like this, which he absolutely does when he comes back to life. So then they're checking the coffin to make more confirmations. So they're basically like, there was never a body in here or something. Like,
But he put it in there.
yeah, but like it's a different coffin or something. They make like 3 different retcons in this. One in Hush where it's like there were 2 coffins, and then at the end of Hush, Batman's like, "Yo, Riddler, where is Jason's body?" And Riddler's like, "No, that is the riddle, isn't it?" He doesn't know based on this and everything after that. Like he just doesn't know.
Right.
And
that's a good one.
Good question.
Wait, what do you mean? Where's the body?
Yeah, what?
What body?
Because Batman like accuses him of like desecrating the body of a child, and Riddler's like, and you're like, no. First of all, gross. Secondly, Riddler, don't own that.
Riddler just doesn't want to like admit he doesn't know something.
Exactly. Yeah.
So he's like, I'd rather you just assume I did this.
Which, by the way, like pretty in keeping with his character.
Yeah, and then I can imagine later on, Batman's like, "You lied. You didn't know."
Yeah. Hey, Riddler, I figured it all out. By the way, point Batman, 0 for Riddler. Also, you didn't know shit. Riddler's like, oh,
but at least I didn't desecrate the child,
All
the
of
body of
his-
the child.
this is true.
was
But
gonna
you
say-
did claim to, which is almost worse.
Oh, come
You
on.
creep.
How is that almost worse?
Who wants to own that? You creeper.
When he gets that shock, all of his question marks become exclamation points.
If his suit changed like that, that would be amazing.
That would be a great art trick. I would love to see that.
Even if it's just a dream sequence, I want that now.
Yeah. So, Batman. So Red Hood is tearing up Gotham, ruining Black Mask's operations again. Like, what? Why Black Mask? There are many different mobs in Gotham. Why just Black Mask? It doesn't matter.
There are many like this, but this one is mine.
Yeah, it's like they really want to make Black Mask Red Hood's big villain.
It's
I guess
because
so.
Like his arch nemesis, but he's not.
Well, I don't like the fact that he's got like a skull
Yeah.
and I was dead.
Well, like
You explain it to me then.
He's got a strong external helmet-like device, as do I, and his is like death. I'm from death. He doesn't even know. Yeah,
Also,
he's like a perverse version of me.
in this one, it really just looks like his face.
Straight up a face.
It's straight up just a
No,
skull
it
face.
is. Yeah, in this it's a straight up face. So Todd is blowing shit up and kicking ass. At one point, there's like a drug deal that's gonna happen in this warehouse. Batman finds out about it. He shows up. He's like, "Everybody get out!" And then he like searches the building and finds a big bomb. And Red Hood calls him up, using all the surveillance equipment that's in the building, and he's like, "You better, there's nothing you can do. You can't stop the bomb." And Batman, of course, like, basically, Red Hood says something like, "You're not going to save an empty building for no reason," and so Batman bails, and the bomb blows up the building. It turns out the building was owned by Black Mask, and so, like, even if Red Hood wanted to kill the drug dealers that work for Black Mask, even though they got away, he still wins because he blew up one of Black Mask's buildings. So, Black Mask's whole operation is just falling apart. And he's bitching about it to his assistant when he's like, he has this hilarious exchange where he's like, the Batman's waging war against this Red Hood guy who's waging war against me. I'm telling you, buddy, we're in the cross. We're not even players. We're just in the crosshairs. And he's like musing about it in front of his window. And he looks across the way and he sees the Red Hoods across on the other building with a rocket launcher. And he's like, oh crap. So then Black Mask bails. And
The assistant dies?
no, the assistant manages to get away. And so Red Hood blows up Black Mask's penthouse office. which, by the way, shouldn't have been able to be blown up because it's like impenetrable and it's got like special like explosive-proof glass. But the window that Black Mask was standing in front of had been was going to be repaired, and so like they removed the special glass. And Red Hood figured that out because he's a detective like Batman.
Okay.
So ultimately, Black Mask gets called up by Deathstroke, aka Slade Wilson.
The guy you call.
And that's the guy you call.
That's the Mr. Freeze.
He didn't call Deathstroke, by the way. Deathstroke is representing the secret society, and he's like, we want you in the secret society, and in exchange for your membership, we will help you out. Does that mean that now we're going to have an awesome fight between the Batman-trained, formerly dead sidekick, Red Hood, versus the oft-Titans villain and perfectly trained weapons master, Deathstroke the Terminator? No. Deathstroke Django Fett's this shit up, and he subcontracts the work to two lesser villains that are in the employ of the Secret Society.
Hold on. So
I'm sorry, 3.
They desperately want Black Mask. Why?
Because he's got influence and money and
Because he has a
resources.
skull face?
I mean, here's the thing. Why we called him instead of like, you know, the Maronis or the Falcones? Mostly because they didn't go with theming.
Right.
You know, costuming.
Right.
So,
That's fair.
So the Secret Society's like, hey, we need a villain.
We want another villain, and we want one with like money.
Although you're kind of getting the shit kicked out of you right now with your organization.
Yes, so we'll help you out. And
Also, we've all been laughing about the fact that you called Mr. Freeze.
yeah, why would you do that? Incidentally,
Also-
we did not call Mr. Freeze
Also,
either.
where is Mr. Freeze at this
He's-
point? He got away.
He got away!
And that's it?
And that's the end of Mr.
He
Freeze.
just took his outfit.
Oh, are you sensing a theme? Where it's like, hey, a cool character, and they show up, and then their purpose in the story is outlived, and so you don't see them anymore.
And they Danny catch it up.
Right? Yeah, and then they leave. By the way, it would be cool if it was all like culminating. Like, remember in Marvel Knights Spider-Man when like Spider-Man met like all these different characters, all these like he deals with the Fantastic Four and the Avengers and everything, and they're seemingly just there to be a cool scene, and then at the end they all show up at the end. Doesn't happen here, so don't get
Okay.
excited.
would also
Don't try to
be-
link these two non-connected stories.
It'd also be a little nicer if somehow they were all connected to Jason Todd as well.
Right.
Like if Mr. Freeze had done something.
Well, yeah, like, I mean, calling Superman is kind of connected, but it would be cool if he called Wonder Woman or something, because that they're kind of on the outs too. I don't remember if that's the case at this point, but the fact is, like, one of the most celebrated Superman stories of all time is For the Man Who's Everything, which is written by Alan Moore, which we've done a back issues, which you can click over there to find out more about. But when Batman and Wonder Woman go to visit Superman at the Fortress of Solitude on his birthday, when they deal with the Black Mercy, Jason Todd is Robin in that story.
Yeah.
So hey, those are two Justice Leaguers you could use that are connected with Jason Todd in some way. Nope.
Hey, Jason Todd, you want to meet my awesome friends?
Because
in the
Wonder
North
Woman
Pole?
didn't die. We got to do the characters who have died.
Right.
So Deathstroke and Black Mask team up. Incidentally, they're under surveillance by both Batman and the Red Hood. And so Batman and the Red Hood are like, ooh. So we got to spring into action,
Okay.
unbeknownst to each other. So Deathstroke and Black Mask team up.
And Deathstroke takes off his hood. He's like,
yeah.
now you.
You wanna explain that other image I'm looking at?
Oh, these are the villains that Deathstroke subcontracts to Black Mask.
A hyena.
The Hyena and Captain Nazi.
I'm sorry, what?
Captain Nazi is a DC villain who was alive during the Third Reich, which is why he's old, but he has like cybernetic enhancements that make him like buff. And technically, the Hyena is also dead, but as they muse in their fourth wall breaking conversation, there were two of them.
Okay.
So this Hyena is the one that isn't dead.
I like the fact that Captain Nazi is wearing a green and red outfit.
Like a Robin suit.
No. Like something the Nazis would never wear.
Oh yeah, no, his outfit is not designed by Hugo Boss.
I was gonna say, now that Hugo Boss is gone and doesn't want to be associated,
Yeah, he had to freelance.
He had to do it himself. It's not gonna go well. The hyena seems like a character Harley Quinn would be way into.
Right?
Ha!
That'd be cool. So Red Hood fights with Captain Nazi and the Hyena, and then of course Batman shows up, and it's cute because like Batman had been watching the entire time, and then Red Hood kind of like taunts at him a little bit when Batman shows up. He's like, "You couldn't decide if you could let me live or die, huh?" And Batman says, shut up and fight. And then the
So,
two of them team up.
Wait, Hyena and Captain Nazi actually get the drop on Red Hood?
Yeah.
The Hyena.
Well, they don't get the
And
drop on
Captain
them.
Nazi.
Actually, Red Hood gets the drop on them, but they do give them a run for their money. So, they're fighting. And
I'm sorry, what's the hyena's powers? He's a hyena?
she
I'm sorry, she. I
is,
apologize.
well, it's nebulous as to whether it's a man or a woman. In fact, Deathstroke and Black Mask have a hilarious conversation about whether or not it is a woman, and it's kind of hard to tell.
So,
But the one who died was the man hyena.
right, Mr. Freeze got taken out
Immediately.
in moments.
Well, no, his henchman got taken out. He just left.
That's true. And Batman struggled in a fight against him.
Yeah.
But
Batman
hyena
and... Yeah.
and Captain Nazi.
So it's basically like Cheetah.
I guess.
I think it's because no one ever prepared to fight them.
This is fair.
yeah.
Like, they're so low down on the list. They're like, man, I never thought I'd actually have to come to this day where I had
Yeah.
to fight the hyena and Captain Nazi.
But don't forget,
I had nothing prepared.
Deathstroke did have another villain up his sleeve,
Okay.
who, when Batman and Red Hood defeat, or momentarily defeat Captain Nazi and the hyena, reveals himself to be Count Vertigo.
You're just making shit up, aren't you?
I mean, look, he's right there. Count Vertigo unleashes his powers, which of course give them, the ability to
Does it
not
get-
stand upright.
Does it give everyone vertigo?
It certainly works on Batman and the Red Hood. It doesn't work on Captain Nazi because he has cybernetic enhanced eyes.
Okay.
The hyena seems to be kind of messed up, though.
Well, it shouldn't be anything to do with the eyes. Or like, maybe it is. I thought Vertigo was like an inner ear thing.
It is an inner thing.
But
That's
maybe,
weird.
So-
but
Or maybe that's Captain Seasickness.
Yeah.
maybe Captain
Captain
Vertigo
Sea-Leg.
is just like, I pretty much give you the same symptoms, but it's ocular based. So
Right.
I'm still gonna go with it.
It is like kind of a hypnotism thing.
And Captain Hypno was already taken, so
Well, yeah. While she is disrupted by Count Vertigo's vertigo, Batman uses a scrap of his cape to punch her in the nose, which of course is very receptive to...
and if she's like
Influence.
if she's anything like a shark, it makes her back off.
Exactly. Yeah, thereby making Hyena, who is clearly gone feral at this point, so wrapped up in the scent of Count Vertigo that she attacks him instead. Meanwhile, Captain Nazi has the Red Hood kind of in a headlock, and then the Red Hood just straight up murders Captain Nazi using some like electrodes in his eyes. And
I
Batman's
think
like,
this is the first
"Damn
time
it."
I'm fine with that.
Right. Yeah. Well, and now you know why the villains chosen were Captain Nazi, Count Vertigo, and the Hyena, because you could kill any of them and no one would complain. Like fans wouldn't be outraged. That's why Mr. Freeze wasn't here, because the Red Hood needs to assert that he's a murderer.
Right.
It's how you can have like the Punisher in the Marvel Universe, but why doesn't he just straight up murder the Kingpin or Norman Osborn or any major villain?
Right.
It's why the only major villain he's ever murdered was Stiltman.
At least with all the other people Red Hood has killed, like they're unnamed henchmen.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like you can kill
And
drug
gangs,
dealers
yeah.
and gang members and like second lieutenants to Black Mask, but as long as you don't kill name characters, or you can kill name characters who nobody gives a crap about. Plus, it's a Nazi, so now you're like, you don't even really care if Red Hood did it. You're like, oh, it's okay. He was a Nazi. It's fine. So,
Well, it's your Batman.
right, who is outraged. But
This will be really terrible when they're fighting someone who has like the swastika on them, but it's for like
it's for the Hindu symbol of peace.
Yeah. Like, no, I fight for peace. Ah, the Nazi kill!
Buddy, I'm sorry, but that don't mean what you think it means no more. Alfred gets a present from Jason Todd,
Okay.
and he calls up Batman. He's like, you got to come down here right now. It's really important. And
Right. It's probably like a finger.
right, and it is not a finger, but it is in that same vein. Meanwhile, Black Mask calls in all of his top men.
Including that sexy lady.
Who?
Yes, top men and woman. And then he murders all of them with a machine gun.
Because it's not him.
No, it is him. The Red Hood and Black Mask are finally working together. Basically, Red Hood gives Black Mask an ultimatum. Work for me, and I'll stop attacking your operations.
But all your henchmen have to go.
Oh, wait,
Yes.
hold on. But I thought he was going to work for
The
that.
secret society.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, no, that's not in the story anymore.
Wouldn't Deathstroke come back and be like, hey, you can't say no to us?
Well, it doesn't come up.
So because
We just wanted to put Deathstroke in 2 pages of the book.
Deathstroke hired people and they failed, suddenly Deathstroke's deal is off the table?
Or... So Red
That's
Hood,
really bad.
Yeah, I know. So Red Hood forces Black Mask to work for him. Black Mask, by the way, is funny because he's like, okay, so I've killed all my lieutenants, so now you're going to stop and you're going to work for me. And Red Hood's like, why would I do that? And you're like, yeah, why would you do that?
Why wouldn't the Red Hood just kill him right now?
Exactly. Meanwhile, of course, like the present was a shock of green hair, which Alfred puts through the computer and determines it's the Joker.
Right.
We come to it at last. The Joker's role in this book. Remember 10 issues ago when Red Hood beat the Joker with a crowbar?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, then he put him away somewhere. And even though Joker's able to escape from
Anything.
asylums or death traps or
But
prisons.
He's not feeling up to himself.
Right. So
He'd had some bad lunch.
Yeah,
And
so-
like his stomach was upset.
and it lasted however long it takes. So anyway, Joker is kidnapped by the Red Hood. Meanwhile, the Red Hood is like
Oh, I
taunting...
thought he was just dead.
No. It looked like it, though. And in fact, I remember thinking when it first happened that it would have been kind of bold. Where it's like, if you're going to do something as audacious as bring back Jason Todd, you're going to undo that story, then you better do something even bolder. Like, he kills the Joker, right? It's kind of ironic, and it's kind of big. It's a big, like, you know, kind of cyclical story for Jason Todd.
I mean, that's the revenge.
Yeah, he murders the Joker, and thereby occupies the role that the Joker has now left vacant.
Okay.
It's not that the Red Hood would become the Joker, but it's more he occupies the space. He becomes Batman's greatest nemesis. His greatest failure becomes his greatest nemesis.
Right.
Right? And you could also then not have to do Joker stories for a long time until you decide that he came back to life, or
Right.
Ra's al Ghul felt like the world needed Jokers, so he puts him in a lab. Who gives a shit? Point is, you kill the Joker. That way you blow everybody's mind. If everybody's already mad at you and sending you death threats for bringing back Jason Todd, you might as well go full tilt and kill the Joker too. Because it's the only way you're going to like really earn the resurrection. But no, because it's all part of Jason Todd's ridiculously circuitous scheme.
Right.
So Black Mask is like, hey, I'm starting to think that like this whole thing, that you tricked me into killing my lieutenant so I'd have nobody to protect me. And Red Hood's like, bingo. So then they fight. So like everyone acts like a lunatic in this book. So then Red Hood and Black Mask have a big fight.
I'm sorry, how does the Black Mask not die immediately?
Because Black Mask is a skilled fighter too, and so the two of them have like a pretty big fight. This is revealed as to why in a minute. But Red Hood and Black Mask fight, and ultimately Black Mask gets the drop on him. Red Hood gets out his signature dagger. He's going to stab Black Mask, and the Black Mask swishes it around, stabs Red Hood in the heart. And you're like, oh!
Oh, wow.
And then Batman shows up, and he's like, no!
Oh, wait, that Batmobile? What was going on with that?
I don't know why. It's weird. Yeah, that's his like mini car. That popped out of
this is
another
my Bat
Batmobile.
Coupe.
Black Mask rips off the Red Hood's mask to reveal there's some guy in there. It's just some guy. The Red Hood hired.
Oh, God damn it.
But Red Hood was there the whole time using the two-way radio in the Red Hood helmet. And so he taunts them both. He's like, nah ha ha.
Okay.
But Batman, you have to go because you didn't listen to Alfred, you didn't go back and get my present, so now I've got to just tell you that I have the Joker hostage, and I'm going to kill him unless you come help, like, the Joker. So you better come down here.
Batman's like, oh, I can't figure out where you are. I guess you're just going to have to take care of that for me.
Right? Yeah. And by the way, he doesn't know where he is.
He's just driving around.
Yep. So Black Mask, so Black Mask realizes that, like, the Red Hood helmet's getting, like, increasing in heat. And Batman's like, oh no, it's his signature move. So he kicks the helmet out of the way.
It doesn't heat up, it just explodes.
Yeah, but at this time it heats up. So the helmet explodes and it like kind of takes out the building a little bit. Batman and Black Mask then have like a conversation about like how all this makes sense. Because, you know, Batman's like, so how...
crazy.
Yeah, this is nuts. So Batman's like, yo, how did Red Hood even call you? Like, how did we get to where we were?
Right.
And Black Mask was like, oh, Red Hood murdered my assistant and shoved a cell phone in his mouth.
Oh, not the assistant that we didn't care about.
The assistant. Mm-hmm. So then Red Hood killed the assistant and gave the Black Mask a burner phone, and then called the Black Mask and then told him his plan. I don't know why we needed to make it a flashback, but here it is.
Right.
So Black Mask realizes, like through their conversation and through how Batman is taking this so seriously, that the Red Hood must be a former Robin because of like how they worked together. You know, there's no way that
It's kind of a leap in logic.
it is a
Yeah.
little bit, but Black Mask puts the pieces together.
I'm sorry, how does he know that there have been multiple Robins?
Well, because if you've fought Batman long enough, you've noticed like Robin got older and then he changed appearances and voice. You know, it's like just because the costumes changed doesn't mean that there wasn't a different human being in them. Batman is like, I gotta go save the Joker, I guess, or fight Red Hood. Either way, I gotta go. And you're not going anywhere, and he throws a bunch of like miniature bat bombs at Black Mask's feet that will go off if he moves.
Okay.
I'm like, what? So
That's very not Batman.
Hey.
I know.
What if I have to go to the bathroom?
Well, just
Then die.
go right there.
By the way, when Batman and Black Mask were like shooting the shit, Batman saw that like a conveniently placed piece of rubble had a note on it that said, "You know where you should meet me." That tipped off where to go. And of course, the place to go is Crime Alley, which is where everything started.
Batman's like, I'm going to Ethiopia.
Right.
All right, well, this is going to be a while.
Yeah, Batman gets to Ethiopia and he's just standing in the middle of the freaking desert and he's like, all right, Jason,
This
it's
is
your
where the
move."
building was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jason's like,
It's been 3 days.
Batman goes to Crime Alley and Jason's there and he's like, "Naha, now we fight."
we already did that.
Yeah, but we're going to fight again. Because it's for all the marbles now.
I'm
by
sorry,
the way,
how does fighting now work out with his plan of like, you're going to...
you don't know
save
where the
the
Joker
Joker?
is. Maybe he's strapped to a bomb or something. You don't know. So
He's strapped to a crowbar that's going to explode.
Batman and Red Hood fight a little bit. By the way, this is important because when Batman first met Jason Todd was a street urchin who was stealing the tires off the Batmobile in Crime Alley.
Okay.
It's like, oh, it was surreptitious. Like,
Oh,
serendipitous. So, Batman is like, I'm not going to let you kill the Joker. And Todd's like, well, you can try to stop me, but it's never going to work. And then, Chemo, a like living bomb character, is dropped on Bloodhaven. And he explodes.
Why?
Because in Infinite Crisis, this is a plot point.
Oh.
But Red Hood takes that opportunity to make it look like he did it. So Batman's like, oh no, like Dick might be dead.
Right.
And Red Hood is like, yeah, so your options are you can go to Bloodhaven and save Dick, even though you know he's probably already dead, or you can stay here and fight me to save the Joker.
Hold on. What was his actual plan?
His actual plan was just to lure Batman to the place where he's holding the Joker, and then offer him a ridiculous, sadistic choice.
But now you've given him this bizarro choice where it's just like, what if he doesn't choose the thing you want?
Yeah. Oh, then my plan is foiled. Well, then I kill Joker anyway, and then we start the whole game over again, I guess.
I mean, that's not really the bad plan. That works. No, I'm going to kill the Joker
Yeah.
then.
Here's the
I
thing.
get my revenge.
In the Judd Winnick written animated movie, the Chemo plot is completely omitted.
Okay.
Obviously, because they're not going to reference Infinite Crisis, but at the same time also, it's completely out of left field and it's really dumb.
Right.
But it's from this thing that happened. By the way, Dick was not in Bloodhaven at the time.
Okay. I don't
So-
like his nose.
Oh, the art in this story is the pits.
So he offers him the option to save Nightwing.
Yes. Then
Or
Batman
save
takes
Joker.
the option
and
to
I was
go
like,
save.
okay, well, I'm going to go save Nightwing.
He's like, no, you don't. And he like starts setting off bombs. And he's like, no, you're not leaving. Batman's like, okay.
What? Why did you tell me I had an option?
I wanted you to feel bad. So they fight. And
Sure.
they wind up fighting into the building that Jason Todd wanted them to get into.
Okay.
Is this knife somehow related to a knife in the Ethiopia story?
No. It's just a cool dagger that I'm sure that
it's
when
his-
Robin ordered them on TV, there were like 12 of them that came in a case.
Okay.
Because it's just a silly,
It's his
curvy dagger.
signature blade.
Yeah.
Was it a Chris?
I think so.
So Batman and Jason fight. They end up in the building that Jason wanted them to be in the room that Jason wanted them to be in. And Batman's like, I'm sorry that I didn't save you. Like, I'm sorry I wasn't enough, but I'm trying to save you now.
Right.
And this is when Jason is like, no, you don't understand, Bruce. I forgive you for not saving me. This isn't about your guilt. This is about how after you didn't save me, you didn't kill the Joker.
But like, but he knows that that's not his MO.
Right, but like, you should have.
I know it's not your MO, but he killed me.
Exactly.
I was a Robin.
I was your son, practically.
Right.
And he killed me. He crippled our friend Barbara. He's filled graveyards of people.
Yeah.
And
you still won't kill him.
And you still won't kill this guy because of what? Some antiquated sense of morality? Like, because your ego? Because you won't cross a line? Like, why won't you do it? And Batman's like, don't you understand? And this is the character reveal of Batman that's like, no. Which is, it'd be too easy. It'd be too easy to kill Joker. All I want to do is kill Joker. All I ever want to think about is killing Joker. But if I cross that line, I'll never go back. And then Robin is like, hey, I'm not talking about killing Penguin or Two-Face or the Riddler. I don't, like, why? Why is that your MO?
This is the thing where it's like, if I kill one person,
I'll kill every person.
So this is where that comes from?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't stop then. Oh, so you're the villain.
Right. So
I'm sorry.
You're a psycho.
I thought you were the hero.
Right? It's like,
I'm mistaken.
you understand, if I eat one chicken nugget, I will eat every
I was gonna
chicken
say,
nugget.
it's like him and potato. You can't have potato chips.
Right. Once you pop, you can't stop.
You understand, I specifically have Alfred hide them in the mansion.
Yeah.
He fills a
'Cause, like,
crystal dish costing
with
$12,000 of 6 chips. That's my limit. But he's like, all I've ever wanted to do is kill Joker. And Red Hood, understandably, is like, why? That's freaking weird. And he doesn't answer. Because no one has an answer for that. Because that's ridiculous. He just says, I'm not going to do that. And then Robin / Red Hood / Jason Todd is like, well, tonight you're going to have to make that choice. So he has Joker, and he's got a gun to his head, and he's like, you're going to have to kill one of us. And he throws another gun at Batman. And he's like, the only way to stop me is to kill him or me. Those are your options.
Okay, to be fair, he should have thrown him a batarang.
No, he needs a gun because he needs them to break all these personal mantras of himself.
Yeah.
But
I don't even know how this thing works.
yeah. So, no, he does. And in fact, in Batman the Cult, Batman and Jason Todd train to fire weapons. So they both are adept with firearms. So Jason says he's going to count to 3. And Batman's like, this is your last chance.
Like he's like dealing with a petulant child.
Yeah. And so he counts to 3, and right before he gets to 1, Batman throws a batarang, which goes behind Jason Todd, bounces off a pipe, and then embeds into his jugular, thereby freeing the Joker and also immobilizing Jason.
And probably killing him again.
I stopped you. I can get you to a hospital. Like, Batman's got like all kinds of first aid in his belt that he can stop him from dying.
I don't have to kill you, but I don't have to save you.
I mean, yeah. So then,
ooh, potato chips, hang on.
yeah. And Joker has a pretty great line where he just says, you got him, you expert rooting, tooting, eagle-eyes, goth marksman son of a bitch. You banked the bat thingy off the pipe. I love it. You managed to find a way to win, and still everybody loses. And then Joker just grabs one of the remaining guns, points it at all the C4 that was rigged for this building to explode, and then just fires.
This is going off the rails now.
Well, because it's one of those things where it's like, you have a great build, and you have this idea about how it's going to end, right? It's like, it's epic. It's got the sadistic choice. Oh, like he's got to choose Joker or Jason.
Yeah.
And Batman's going to have to find a way. But I've written myself into a corner where the only way that Batman can win is if he does something, like, impossible.
This is like an examination of like the chaotic standpoint in D&D, where like Joker's chaotic evil,
Yes.
and Batman is chaotic good, and
Jason
is chaotic neutral.
Yep.
And it's just, what happens when you put him in a room?
Yeah, put them all in a room and see what happens.
This.
Now, you know what would have been amazing? Here's my pitch for the end of this book. You know, Batman tries desperately to reach Jason emotionally and like man to man. He's like, don't do it. And Jason's just like, 3, 2... And right as he's saying 1, Superman just blasts through the wall behind them and just grabs them both. Just separates them using his body and just is like, all right, Batman, good thing you called me.
Right? Or he just puts his hand in between the gun.
Yeah, just nope.
Just dunk.
Yep. And then Joker can like crawl away.
No, and then Superman just goes, bah.
Yeah,
to Joker.
Yeah.
Just,
well, you still need the explosion. You still need Jason and Joker to get away. So then, like, Joker shoots the C4.
Do you?
Well, because otherwise, how are you not going to have this awesome character to keep using?
I mean, he could just be put away in a prison, and then I guess he escapes because he was trained by Batman.
Yeah, but no, he escaped. So the end of the book is just like Batman is sad, and Red Hood got away, but so did the Joker. Or he died, who knows? But he obviously didn't, because you're not going to kill the Joker. If you're not going to kill Mr. Freeze or the Hyena, you kill friggin'
Captain
Nazi, but not Count Vertigo.
That was an easy choice.
We're not going to, yeah, that's true.
Very easy.
We're not going to kill the Joker. So they got away, and...
Just like in the song.
And then the Joker got away,
Yeah.
So then this collection here has a couple of like backup stories that kind of tell you, they show you the issue.
I'm sorry, it ends there?
That's the end. It's just, we've introduced this rich new character into the Bat mythos.
I knew there was more book because I thought there was more story.
No. The rest of the book is explaining the retcon. How did he come back to life? What happened?
What happened?
What happened was Joker beat Jason Todd near death. Jason then leapt in the way of the bomb that Joker also planted to save his mom. The two of them die. Meanwhile, in the Paradise dimension where Superboy Prime lives, he's looking at all the different universes, and in one of them he sees the DC post-crisis universe where Jason Todd dies. He is so outraged by what he sees, and he also sees like there's an alternate reality where it doesn't happen, which is awesome because I think it's actually the Jim Aparo pencils of the alternate pages from when Jason Todd died. Okay. Because when Jason Todd was killed, he was killed by a 900 number that fans could call in and determine which one they wanted. Should he live or should he die? And because it was down to the wire, and because it was based on a phone call, they had Aparo draw both endings. And so forever we've seen the part where the iconic and beautiful panel of Batman holding Jason's lifeless body. But there's also another panel, and it's this one, of Batman revealing that Jason Todd isn't dead. Superboy Prime is so upset that this is not the reality that came to be that he punches reality itself and it sends shockwaves that resurrect Jason Todd. So Todd wakes up and he digs himself out using basically muscle memory, but because he was beaten in the head with a crowbar, he is resurrected as he was. So he's a brain-damaged, lifeless zombie like corpse that's just kind of like shambling across the street. And he winds up getting picked up by a random couple outside of Gotham, and he's sent to a hospital, and they have him under like in a coma state. And eventually eventually he wakes up and he escapes, and he is just kind of like wandering thoughtlessly and memoryless.
I saw that they had a fingerprint scan up.
Yeah, but
they didn't
Batman
identify him?
Oh no, Batman deleted all of his records after he died. Batman got rid of all that shit. He expunged Jason Todd's existence after he died. That way nobody's like, hey, where'd your ward go?
Right.
So Todd is just kind of randomly wandering the city, and ultimately he is seen in action because he's attacked by some random dude, so he kicks their ass. But he kicks their ass using muscle memory as Robin. Mm-hmm. And one of the random dudes who sees it is a member of the League of Assassins. And so they call Ra's al Ghul, and Ra's al Ghul tells Talia about it, and Talia kind of feels really bad for him. So Talia arranges for Jason to be brought to their lair. And so Talia keeps Todd there and kind of takes care of him. And Ra's is after a while, Ra's just goes okay, I don't have a plan for this kid. If Batman finds out we have him, he's going to wage war on us. Get rid of him. Now I must go because my Lazarus pit needs me.
I didn't really think this through. Drop him off in a corner somewhere.
It was mostly Talia's plan. So Ra's goes into the Lazarus pit, and while he's there, Talia feels bad for Jason, so she brings Jason to the Lazarus pit. Because the idea is that Ra's is the kid's brain damaged. He'll never be Jason Todd again. Mm-hmm. We can't give him to Batman or use him as a bargaining chip because it's just a corpse puppet that's shambling around. It's not good. It's not going to endear him to us or use him in any good way. It's not going to help us. Let's just get rid of him. So then Talia brings Jason to the Lazarus pit while it's activated, while her father's in it, and he just shoves Jason into it.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
Can two people be in the Lazarus pit?
Apparently.
Okay.
And maybe...
Is it weird?
It is weird, because you see Jason and he's submerged by the Lazarus pit, and it repairs him, and it triggers his memories, which wake him back up, and maybe, you know, the
little bit of rage imprinted onto Jason.
So when he emerges, he's insane.
But then, like,
kind of
does
insane.
some of Jason imprint onto Raish?
No. So Talia runs away with Jason, and because Jason, by the way, was under the influence of Talia and the League of Assassins or whatever for a while, which is why Jason, like, ages.
Okay.
Why he's not 13 when he shows up. So Talia gives Jason a duffel bag full of his past and sends him on his way, saying, "You have not been avenged."
Oh, so Damien's really his kid.
Right? That would be amazing. Because, by the way, she does, like, plant one on him. So she does seemingly have some kind of, like, thing for him. That would be an amazing retcon. Jason pieces all the puzzles together, and she also says, like, don't call Batman. Like, solve the mystery of your death first. Because she's like, I know that
What mystery?
the mystery is that Batman is a dick who, like, covered up your murder and, like, didn't avenge you.
I thought you were gonna say the mystery is the Joker beat me to death.
Yeah, oh, I solved that mystery immediately. So, but
Case closed.
the fact that Joker wasn't killed by Batman after killing Robin makes Jason, like, freak out.
Yeah,
So
but
then,
that's not a mystery at all.
no, so Jason figures out, like, about Hush, and so he retcons the Hush thing, and then the story ends with him just being the Red Hood and adopting the mantle that formerly belonged to the Joker, which is another reason why I like the idea that Jason should kill the Joker, at least for a little while, is because, like, he kind of, like, adopts the mantle that the Joker was.
Right.
It's like poetry, it rhymes. So, but I love the text that follows along with the retcon, where it says, his path was clear, he is Jason Todd, make no mistake, it is him. As if to say, no, any of your theories trying to undermine my retcon are bunk. It's Jason Todd, he's back to life, deal with it.
Screw all of you.
Get over it. By the way, during the time when this was coming out, fans of the retcon were unofficially called redheads. Just that there's a fun little tidbit of information for you, which Winnick was thrilled by.
Of course.
Probably because he was thrilled that people weren't giving him death threats for making this audacious retcon. But Under the Red Hood is a story about Jason ingratiating himself back into Batman's life while also behaving like a petulant child and acting kind of like an anti-hero, because his whole conceit is, like, I'm doing what you should be doing, Batman. I'm using your skills and your tools and and all of your knowledge to kill criminals, to stop them permanently. At some point or another, he also decides, like, maybe I should, like control crime. You know,
Because then I can stop it.
yeah, like, I can kind of, like, keep them from being more heinous. You know, like, these guys sold drugs to children. They can't be helped. They must die. But, you know, like, if you're going to sell drugs, you can't, like, stop the drug trade, which is true. And it's like, so I'm going to control it, make sure that, like, drugs can't, which is, of course, also stupid. Like,
Because you're never going to be able to control it.
exactly. But yeah, so Jason kind of becomes like a half-assed, like, evil Batman or a darker Batman. And in fact, when Batman, like, goes into the Omega Sanction, there's a whole Battle for the Cowl arc where, like, everybody adopts the Batmantle, including Jason Todd, who gets, like, a cool, like, knight's armor kind of version of Batman. Where he's like, I'm Batman, he's like killing people. Yeah.
He should not want to be Batman because of what happened.
I agree, but he does. I mean, here's the thing. They needed to delay the event, so Battle for the Cowl was just a stopgap.
Okay.
So, like, normally it wouldn't have been Jason Todd's motivation, but they needed to fill this time, so.
I agree with your comment before, where if you're going to go as far
As
to
bringing
bring
him
Jason back, you should kill the Joker in this story.
Right? Because, like, here's
And
the
it
thing.
should be Jason who does it, not Batman.
Right.
He's like, I already did it.
Yeah.
You saw that scene with the crowbar? He's dead.
Exactly. No.
And the reveal is we fight, and then we crash into the room, and it's just the Joker's corpse.
Right. I mean, like, anything else would have been way more satisfying, although I think a lot of people were satisfied by the story. And I don't blame them, because I get it. Because the Bucky retcon is also solid. I like that too. Even though it commits one of the three cardinal sins of comics.
This is interesting. I think there's just too much happening.
a lot.
The story itself is interesting.
It's bloated. though.
Yeah, but like the core
The core story.
is kind of interesting.
Yep.
And they filled it with too many other things.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it have been, speaking of interesting, wouldn't it have been interesting if instead of Joker beating Jason Todd to death with a crowbar, he'd beat him to death with a tire iron?
You mean Jason beating the Joker?
No, I mean the Joker originally doing that because that's how Jason. It would have been
Oh,
like,
Yeah, how they met.
yeah.
That would have been cool. Well, I don't think they were.
No, I know.
Certainly, Starlin wasn't thinking about that when he did
But
it.
that's cool.
Like,
Yeah.
Because I saw him walking by in one of the panels with the tire iron, and I'm just like, oh, could you like,
Yeah.
it all comes down to you died because you became a Robin.
Yeah, right.
because
Exactly.
Of that moment.
Because of that moment when Batman found you taking the wheels off the Batmobile. That would have been cool.
Don't retcon that.
Yeah.
Leave it as it is. I'm just
Right.
saying.
No, I like the crowbar.
Just saying.
In the Jeff Johns written, Jason Fabok drawn, Black Label printed retcon story, The Three Jokers, one of the Jokers is holding a bloody crowbar.
Oh.
So you're like, oh, the Joker who killed Jason Todd is one of the 3 Jokers in the DC pantheon. I wonder why that is. So, because the Killing Joke Joker is a different Joker too. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
No, that's okay. They can still be the same Joker.
I'm not entirely sure what you're talking about.
That's fair. We'll
You'll
see you
find
guys
out.
next time with another episode of Back Issues. I'm Sal.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Tiffany.
By the way, check the description box below this video. You can get a copy of this volume for yourselves. See you next week.